What is going on, everyone? I hope you're having a wonderful day. So, one thing that I wanted to discuss was the fact that Rimworld, completely inspired by this, and the fact that our weather's actually getting quite warm recently. Neolithic tribes start with something called passive callers. Now, this is an incredibly interesting thing. I'm just going to go on peaceful just to show you. Reload anytime. Any of these work. There we go. Just going to jump straight into a game. And alright. So, here they are. Little passive callers which apparently use wood to refuel. Put two in this just for the speed, but only one is necessary. And as you can see, outside is 32 Celsius. And inside is 17 Celsius, which is a lot more comfortable. Now the idea here is that it evaporates water, and as water has a much higher heat capacity than just regular air, you're hopefully going to be able to capture the heat and it will leave somehow. With an indirect evaporative cooling, it is a process that uses a direct evaporative cooling in addition to some heat exchanger, so to transfer the cool energy to the supply air. The cooled moist air from the direct evaporative cooling process never comes into direct contact with the conditioned supply air. The moist air stream is released outside or used to cool other external devices such as solar cells, yada yada yada, all of that. And I was just looking up to see if we could actually make these kind of things at home, and there are a few good guides, but if you want to use no electricity at all, it's going to be a slow process. But if you use a little bit, but not as much as an air conditioner, for example. In the UK, we just don't have those in the house. I know you Americans are probably going to be like, just turn on your AC, it's all good. Gosh darn it. No, we do not have access to any of that. We could, but it's very expensive, and prices for electricity are already pretty high. I'm going to try and leave politics out of this video, but I honestly want to keep things as green as possible, so better for the environment, and thus the idea of passive cooling should really be pushed into the mainstream a bit more. So if you want to use a little bit of electricity, you could have a cooling box with a fan, just to move the air around a lot more efficiently. And this could easily be done by saying, like, just if you have a refrigerator, get some ice, or a freezer even. Get some ice, you put it in a box. The box has a fan in it, so hot air goes in one end and the cool air comes out the other, and the fan can go across. So you can think of ideas about that. I found a couple of things like Lifehacker. I don't know how trustworthy these websites are, but this was published in 2010, so you know, it's Neolithic technology is Neolithic, so you know, we should be able to do it by ourselves. So here they are. They have a little bucket, and they've done stuff like that. And there has even been a good video by Joe Scott, which I was just watching. I'll definitely put these links in the description. He talks about heat pumps, wind catchers, and passive housing institutions. This is more about, you know, how these buildings are made rather than anything too crazy. Like, I'm thinking more on the small end, but he's thinking more the big end, which is, you know, that's a good idea. We do want that to happen. But as the evaporated cooler from Wikipedia shows, they use evaporation of water, which, yeah, differs from air conditioning systems, which is an active system. Evaporative coolers are a passive cooler, as the name implies. So it will be over time. whereas air conditioning is a very quick way of doing it. So yeah, there are multiple different things here on this Wikipedia page. Even this illustration, just a simple system here. So if you feel like you could make this yourself, it doesn't even have to be this complicated, but this is definitely a different way to do it. There are so many things that you can think of. All you have to do is a little bit of DIY work, and well, for quite cheap you can do it. Alternatively, there are of course passive coolers. If we just go to Google and search passive cooler, yeah, there are several things already made, and if you've ever looked in your computer and what's that on your CPU, that is a heatsink. That is a form of passive cooling. Of course, it goes into a fan, which is then active cooling. So it is a combined technology in your computer as it is right now. Of course, there's also water cooling, which is a passive cooler. It's just a lot more confined to just one component of your computer rather than your entire room, which would be a lot bigger if you wanted that. Anyway, there are definitely stuff here, and people do ask this question, so are they real? Yes, but not quite as straightforward as just stick some wood inside a box. No, it's, you need water, you need a sort of a system, you need to have it planned out, so there is definitely stuff there. Anyway, that was just a small little video that I wanted to just discuss about, and hopefully you found this interesting. If you guys have any more things, like in Rimworld, there's so many different things, Neolithic technologies that have been forgotten and all of that. So like, what is pemmican? That is another good question. Some food that lasts a long time that ancient civilizations had access to, that we just simply forgotten because either we don't need it or we've got better alternatives. Like now we have refrigeration, so we don't need long-lasting food like that. But there is certainly things in the grocery store or supermarkets, whatever you want to call them, that exist, that do last for a long time. Herbal medicine, I think that one is just a... yeah. There is definitely herbal medicine out there, but for the most part, you're not going to find a random shrub and be like, hey, this heals my wounds. No. It's more likely going to be like, I know there's dough leaves here in the UK, I believe they're called, which help soothe irritated skin. It's not very effective, but it does help a little bit. So like, if you get sting nettles, a bit of survivalist idea is to find a dough leaf and rub that on the skin, and that supposedly has a healing effect. Again, I don't really understand that. I haven't done any research on it. It was just an old thing that I learned when I was in the Scouts. So, yeah, I also learned how to eat nettles. Nettles are edible, so not necessarily things that you want to do, but interesting little tidbits of real life. Anyway, I do hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe and like button, and I'll take any comments, see if you are interested in seeing something else. Roughly going to be based on video games. Like, I want to see if technology is actually adaptable for the real world.